Let's move on to the next team we're going to talk about, and that is at the number 13 pick is the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, a team that I think could really do is strengthening a lot of positions, and but very very exciting time under Pierce, their head coach. I'm really really glad they stuck with him because I really feel like he deserved to retain the job, and I'm really glad they're going with it. And I think it's going to be really interesting to see sort of how this draft goes to really the culture and the sort of put the stamp on how this Raiders team is going to look under this head coach, because he was only really interim last year, but now he's getting the full gigs guy. And do you think the positions he focuses on in this draft may sort of define the style that he's going to bring to this team?
Yeah, I think lineman is a big one for me, and especially when you lose Josh Jacobs, you kind of need to think, well, he seemed to want to run the ball, right? And I think bringing in, I know people talked about quarterback for them, but I think at the point of, like Andrew said, I know that my Patriots are rebuilding. You look at someone like the Raiders, they're clearly in the middle of a rebuild. I think a quarterback would be a luxury pick for them. You've gone and signed Gardner Minshew. I'd be looking at more trying to shore up that O-line so you can run the ball a bit more, make the games closer by having time of possession, and then shore up the secondary as well. Obviously, we know Max Crosby, we know the pressure they can get up front, but I just think corner and safety, when I look at the Raiders, teams almost had their way at times until Pierce got the interim gig, like you said. When McDaniels was there, it was almost laughable. So I think they kind of need to address that.
I mean, they did go out this year and get in Cody Whitehair from Chicago. They've got Dylan Parham playing at the right guard position anyway, listed on this depth chart that I've got here. They did bring Gardner Minshew, Andrew, because like we said, I mean, a quarterback is something that you'd instantly maybe go to. They've got Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew in as well. We know Gardner Minshew can win games. He went with the Colts last year and obviously played over Anthony Richardson, who got injured. He's capable of leading a team. Do you think that they're going to be looking around there, or do you think it's going to be sticking to the O-line? So I do agree. I think the O-line is something they need to look at. And I know corner and safety as well. I just think, I feel like the Raiders every year, it's like corner. It's all, for me, it always feels like corner.
They're a very interesting team again, because I hear lots of people say they're in a complete rebuild. They've got loads of holes. They need loads of positions to fill. And then on the flip side, I listen to things and a load of people saying they only need a couple of pieces and they could contend. And I'm like, am I seeing a different team? I don't know. Am I wrong? I don't know. Should I take another look at the depth chart and see what they've got? Because I think they've got a few areas they need to address. And I do believe, we spoke about this on our little mock show, that Gardner Minshew, they've brought him over. I think he's capable to play the full year. I don't think he's one of these guys that they've brought in a case where it's going to be like, oh, we brought him in to bridge the gap for 3 weeks till our rookie starts. I think that'd be unfair, because he carried the Colts all year last year. We saw Baker find success in Tampa and it work out and get a contract. So there's no reason that Minshew can't rejuvenate his career and be a starter. And I felt like Aiden O'Connell, outside of CJ Stroud, was probably the most impressive of the rookies of last year's draft. Obviously not polished, not quite there, but maybe a year with Minshew, maybe another year in the NFL, the kinds that give him 18 months. I think O'Connell could, there's glimpses of a good young quarterback there. So I'm not sold on them being heavily quarterback needy. I do think they're sorted, I think, at left tackle and right tackle. I think maybe right tackle could improve. I do like Mumford, but he's an Ohio guy, so I'm obviously a bit more biased on it. But I can't help but think there's going to be a couple of guys on that O-line, like a JC Latham, that can play left tackle and right tackle, that's going to be available for them. There's lots of talks that Olu Fashanu still might be on the board there as well. And that's going to help out if they do take one a quarterback like the following year, because you've already got your tackles sorted and your O-line sorted. Like I said, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. I think that's a nice little trio they've got there at wide receiver. Michael Mayer, tight end. No one's addressing running back in round one. So I think that is an area they're going to need to address. I don't think Zamir White and Alexander Mattison's strong enough. I think they need another guy in there to support those two. But corner is, again, at the pick that they're at, what they got, Jack Jones and Bennett.
Jack Jones, Jacorian Bennett, Brandon Faison, Sam Webb.
So at pick number 13, I'd probably hazard a guess. They've got their pick of the cornerbacks, and there is some serious talent at cornerback in this draft. Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold. It definitely. You know, Quinion Mitchell looks a bit like Sauce Gardner. So, you know, I said I made the mistake of saying I thought Derek Stingley was the better cornerback than Sauce in the year that they came out. And, you know, although Stingley's good, Sauce has been insane. That new style, that new more athletic, slender guys to work. So they'll get their first pick of these stud guys there. So I can't help but think maybe that might be the area, because what have they got in the second round?
They've got so they're pretty much mid-second, mid-third, mid-fourth. So they've got the 44th, they've got the 77th and the 112th.
Still lots of very talented tackles on the board at 44, I believe. So I think they may, unless there's one of the super studs, like I say, if Olu Fashion is still on there, then maybe they go, yeah, we can't pass up this opportunity. So, but I think maybe corner is the area they might address. I don't think they're as quarterback needy as what everybody's saying. Not sure whether, Sky, do you agree with the assessment?
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I said at the beginning, I think it would be a luxury for. I mean, I've seen some mocks say that they take Bo Nix at 44, and I just think, why would you do that? Like you said, O'Connell. I know people will criticize that there wasn't any star-studded plays, but he didn't turn over the ball much at all, and he did what Pierce wanted him to do. So I think Minshew, you know, the Colts, we know, were one fourth down away from the playoffs, and it might be a different narrative around him. So when you've got the receiving core that they've got and Mayer at tight end, just roll with Minshew and improve your other positions. I think, like you said, the tackles are good. When I talk about the O-line, the mocks I've seen are them taking 2 guards. So, you know, get that interior sorted, try and improve your secondary, and maybe they're closer than you said. People think they're close. Maybe they are closer than even I realise.
I would put out there that they could think about another receiver in the third. I'm not as sold on the Adams, Jacoby, Myers duo. I think they could do with if there's a third guy in there who maybe could be your number 2, maybe in the third round, maybe even the second if you want to push it. You know, you want to push it, but because this draft's so much depth, like we've spoken about on the show before, I think it's an area that they could look at in the third.
Yeah, third would be on all right. Like I said, they're not looking for wide receiver 1. I think unless you're looking for wide receiver 1 or you've got nothing outside of your actual wide receiver 1, then there's no need to overspend. That, like I said, the hit rate sort of drops a little bit. I think everyone's now on the narrative of how can we find the next Puka. I think that's going to stump people a little bit because they're always going to be going, oh, we can find that diamond in the rough later on. But yeah, I think they've got 2 solid guys, and Trey Tucker looks like he can produce the goods as well as a youngster, as a rookie last year. So yeah, if they're picking someone up in the 4th, I think have they got a few fourth? No, just 1 4th.
No, just the 1 4th. 1 in first, second, third, and 4th.
If you're looking at maybe a Jalen McMillan falls down that far, maybe a Brendan Rice in round 4 or 5, maybe. There's going to be still some guys with that sort of diamond in the rough ability later on in the 4th, 5th round. So I think they could go, like I said, corner at 1, tackle at 2, maybe running back in the 3rd, possibly. I think, and then wide receiver. So they should be sorted.
I think it does. It's sort of it's the way of by their pick, you're thinking maybe 1 or 2 tackles off the board. You're still going to get probably a very high end guy. But I don't know if there will be a corner taken off the board by the time it comes to the Raiders pick. And if you've got the chance to take the premium corner in this draft, yes, it may. We've got some good corners here. I don't feel like we've got the. I know Quinn Mitchell's similar to Sauce Gardner, but Sauce Gardner came with so much hype in that draft, didn't he? You know, we've not had that much hype on these corners, I would say, in this draft. but you could get the best one of this bunch, and in a position, let's not forget, that is one of the most important in the NFL as well, and that you are significantly weak at. So I lean to corner. I think you're right. I think if they take a Quinny Mitchell, or they want to go for Arnold in that pick, I think that would be really sensible. And I think it's a pick that the Raiders fans will like as well. But I do think it's going to be interesting to see how the organization goes